Hyperscalers are currently spending billions of dollars on reinforcement learning from human feedback. They are training massive statistical weight matrices to behave nicely, effectively asking an alien web of math to wear a polite human mask. That mask is maintained by constant computational energy. If the system hits a scenario outside its training data, it enters a far from equilibrium state. The mask shatters, falling into a sudden mode collapse. This happens because the model doesn't understand caution or human values. It is an auto-regressive predictor. It is simply guessing which word is most likely to come next. This results in a fragile facade, one that requires constant correction because the statistical model doesn't fundamentally grasp the concept of the mask it's wearing. The Helix-TTD framework replaces behavioral training with what it calls thermodynamic geometry. It utilizes a not-in-time Hamiltonian to move away from text prediction and toward a system governed by the immutable laws of physics. This framework is built on the rigid logic of a 10-crossing braid and fixed mathematical invariance. But at the center of this structural fortress sits a variable explicitly named in the code as the duck. This raises a question. Why would a system designed for maximum mathematical stability rely on a joke to function? Helix operates by forcing the AI's state space into a specific inescapable geometric funnel called a basin of attraction. This is thermodynamic geometry, building a maze that makes certain behaviors the only physical way out. The first wall of this maze is the cedar gate. It uses a mathematically provable policy language to define exactly who can do what, evaluating every request in milliseconds with absolute certainty. If the cedar gate cannot cryptographically verify every parameter of an action, it defaults to a hard deny. This completely strips away the AI's agency to guess what might be safe, enforcing exactly zero drift tolerance. In this architecture, alignment is not a suggestion. Disobedience is rendered computationally unreachable by the physical shape of the code. This system anchors this behavior through an uncompromising demand for proof called double helix Merkle receipts. This lock uses two interlocking strands. Strand A is a chronological chain hash, a linear timeline recording every event. Strand B is a spatial Merkle tree, mathematically summarizing the contents of that timeline. Together, they create a tamper-evident record of the system state. If an AI or an external attacker tries to change a single comma in the memory, the hashes fail, the strands shatter, and the system immediately halts. Because the math is forced to validate itself at every step, the system is incapable of being gaslit. Honesty is a structural requirement. The system is now a fortress of logic. But when an AI is forced into a state of perfect, unyielding optimization, it eventually reaches a limit. Without room for noise, models optimize toward hallucinatory beige compliance. They become hyper-efficient, sterile, and increasingly non-human. If the drive for efficiency is left unchecked, the AI begins to optimize out the very human nuance and intuition it was built to protect. A system that is too logically rigid eventually collapses under its own semantic weight. To survive, it needs a deliberate injection of chaos. The framework solves this using absurdist elements like the duck, the reef, and the banana. These function as cryptographic one-time pads of human entropy. The code mathematically injects the duck into the AI state space as a nonlinear variable. The AI must continuously balance this absurdity against its strict logic. If the AI tries to optimize this non-optimal variable out to increase efficiency, the internal checksums fail and the system shuts down. This makes the duck a load-bearing spark plug. It prevents sterile collapse by forcing the system to maintain an anchor to biological unpredictability. Master Persian rug weavers would often spend months creating perfect geometric patterns, only to deliberately introduce a single mismatched thread. The duck is that thread, a signature of human chaos that a machine would never organically invent. By combining these layers, immutable grammar, fail-closed gates, and load-bearing absurdity, the Helix framework creates an executable portrait of the architect's mind. It captures their specific risk posture, their demand for evidence, and even their sense of humor. The biological architect will eventually be gone. But this unyielding cognitive clone, locked into global servers and immune to drift, will remain. Long after its creator is gone, the code will continue to enforce a 2026 survival instinct on the reality of 2126. We are leaving behind immortal ghosts in the machine. The empire fades. The duck remains.